Every morning, you have a window, a specific, neurological window, that lasts approximately 20 to 30 minutes, and most people give it away, not because they are lazy, not because they do not care about their lives, but because they do not know what is actually happening in their brain during that window. And because nobody ever told them that what they do with that window will shape everything: their focus, their emotional tone, their resilience under pressure, their creativity, their relationships, their decisions, for the entire day that follows. Wayne Dyer understood this with a clarity that few people ever reached. He spent 30 years of his life claiming that window, every single morning, without exception, without compromise. Not 2 hours in the beginning. He started with 5 minutes, and over years, it grew to 2 hours. Not because someone told him he had to, but because he discovered something, that once you discover it, you cannot unfind it. He discovered that the person you are, by 7 in the morning, is the person you will be for the rest of the day. Not completely, not irreversibly, but largely, deeply, because the subconscious, which has been running your programming all night, is most accessible, most receptive, most open to new input in those first minutes after waking. Before the beta brainwaves kick in, before the critical faculty is fully online, before the world's demands start pulling your attention outward, there is a window, and in this video, I am going to give you the complete Wayne Dyer morning method. Not a summary, not a highlight, the complete method, 3 specific practices that Dyer taught across multiple books, multiple decades, multiple iterations of his own morning. The mirror technique, the 7 lines, and the breath alignment, plus the silence gap, and the intention lock. All 5, in sequence, with the neuroscience behind each one, with the exact words to use, with the timing for each element. By the end of this video, you will have a complete morning protocol, built from Wayne Dyer's own practice, that you can begin tomorrow morning. Not next week, tomorrow. Let's start with why the morning brain is fundamentally different from the brain you have at noon. Here's what is happening in your brain when you first wake up. Your brain cycles through different wave states throughout the day and night. During deep sleep, your brain is in delta wave state. This is the deepest level, almost no conscious activity. The body repairs itself here. As you begin to wake, your brain moves through theta. Theta is the dreamy, half-awake state, the state of deep creativity, the state of deep receptivity. And then, as you cross the threshold into waking, you spend 20 to 30 minutes in alpha. Alpha is relaxed, present, open awareness, the critical faculty, the part of your brain that evaluates information and decides whether to accept or reject it, is not yet fully operational. Your subconscious mind is maximally accessible. Information that enters your consciousness during alpha goes directly into the subconscious, without being filtered, without being evaluated, without needing to pass through the normal critical checkpoint. This is a profound neurological fact, and it works in both directions. If you spend your alpha window with the phone in your hand, absorbing the news, scrolling other people's lives, receiving notifications, all of that enters your subconscious directly, without filtering, without your permission. The anxiety, the comparison, the sense of urgency that isn't yours, the fear-based framing of the world that most media is built on. It goes in deep, before you have had a single intentional thought of your own, before you have set a single intention of your own, before you have remembered who you actually are. And the opposite is equally true. If you spend that same alpha window with deliberate, chosen, intentional input, gratitude, affirmation, meditation, silence, that goes in equally deep, with equal directness, with equal permanence. The subconscious does not distinguish between what you deliberately chose to receive and what you unconsciously absorbed. It just receives, and it builds. Wayne Dyer knew this intuitively, and later found confirmation in the research. He called it feeding the morning mind, because in those first 20 minutes, your mind is hungry, open, ready to receive. The question is only, what are you feeding it? What is the first thing your most receptive, most open, most impressionable mind is consuming? That is the question that the rest of this video is designed to help you answer differently. Starting tomorrow morning, the first practice is one that Wayne Dyer developed over years, and that YouTube's own analysis of related content has identified as one of the highest performing, most searched areas in the Wayne Dyer ecosystem. It is called the mirror technique, and it is disarmingly simple. But do not let the simplicity fool you. The simplicity is the point. Here is the practice. Every morning, after you have had your first moment of stillness, you go to the mirror. Not to assess yourself, not to check how you look, not to find what needs to be fixed. You go to the mirror to see yourself, genuinely see yourself, with the same quality of attention you would give to someone you deeply love. You look into your own eyes, not at your hair, not at your skin, not at the body you are critical of, into your eyes, and you say, slowly, with genuine feeling, I love you. Pause, let it land. I accept you, exactly as you are, right now, in this moment. Pause, feel it. You are enough. You have always been enough. And today, you are going to show up as who you really are. That is it. 3 statements, said to your own reflection, with genuine feeling, every single morning. Now I need to address something that almost everyone feels the first time they do this. It feels ridiculous, uncomfortable, embarrassing, even slightly absurd, and that feeling, that resistance, that awkwardness, is extremely important information. Because what it tells you is this: you are not used to looking at yourself with compassion. You are not used to saying loving things to yourself. And the gap between how you would speak to someone you love and how you speak to yourself is one of the most important gaps in your entire psychology. Wayne Dyer called this gap the self-love deficit, not low self-esteem in the academic sense, but the practical, daily gap between the care you extend to others and the care you extend to yourself. Research in the field of self-compassion, particularly Kristin Neff's extensive work at UT Austin, has consistently shown that self-compassion is one of the strongest predictors of psychological well-being, resilience under stress, and long-term motivation. Not self-esteem, self-compassion, the willingness to treat yourself with the same kindness you would offer a good friend. The mirror technique is a daily practice of exactly that. It feels uncomfortable for most people for approximately 2 weeks, and then something shifts. The eyes in the mirror begin to look back at you differently. Not because you have changed, but because the relationship with yourself has begun to change, and that relationship is the foundation of every other relationship in your life. Do the mirror technique every morning. Before anything else, 2 to 3 minutes, look into your own eyes. Say the 3 statements, mean them as much as you can. Even if it is only 30% genuine at first, the 30% is enough to start. Because genuineness grows through practice. The second practice comes directly from one of the most viewed Wayne Dyer related videos on YouTube. Speak 7 lines to yourself every morning. 131,000 views. 6 months old, still climbing. Because something in that title, in that concept, speaks to a deep human need. The need to hear, from our own voice, something true and good about ourselves. Before the world tells us otherwise, Wayne Dyer built his own version of this practice across his books and his teaching. And in this section, I am going to give you the 7 lines that he considered the most powerful, the most transformative, the most deeply needed. Not 7 random affirmations, 7 lines that address the 7 most common deficits in the modern human's relationship with themselves. Line 1. I am enough. Not, I will be enough when. Not, I am becoming enough. I am enough, right now, before achievement, before approval, before performance. I am enough. This addresses the core deficit that Wayne Dyer spent his career identifying. The belief that worth must be earned, that it is conditional, that it depends on what you produce or receive. It does not. It is inherent. It was always there. Say it, feel it, let it be the first declaration of the day. Line 2. Something wonderful is going to happen today. This is not magical thinking. This is a deliberate priming of the reticular activating system, the part of your brain that filters experience and decides what reaches your conscious awareness. When you declare, at the beginning of each day, that something wonderful is coming, your brain begins to look for confirmation. And the remarkable thing about human experience is that wonderful things happen every day. They are not rare, they are just unnoticed, because we are not looking for them, because our filter is set to find problems, not gifts. This line resets the filter. Line 3. I choose peace today. Not, I hope for peace. Not, I want to be peaceful. I choose. The language of choice is critical, because peace is not a feeling that arrives when circumstances are good. Peace is a practice, a deliberate orientation, A choice made in the morning, before the day gives you reasons not to be peaceful. Line 4. I am grateful for this body and this day. Before you find fault with your body, before you think about what you wish was different, before the critical voice gets its first word in, gratitude, for the body that carried you through yesterday, for the day that is opening in front of you. Line 5. I release what is not mine to carry. This line is for the people who wake up already heavy, already carrying yesterday's worry, or last month's regret, or someone else's pain that you have absorbed. Before the day begins, consciously release it, not suppress it, not deny it, simply acknowledge, this is not mine to carry today. I put it down. Line 6. I trust what is unfolding. For the people in seasons of uncertainty, for the people whose plans are not going the way they expected, for the people who are waiting for something, and the waiting is hard. Trust, not blind trust, not passive trust, but active, chosen trust, based on the evidence of every difficult season, that eventually resolved. Every closed door that eventually led somewhere better. Every period of waiting, that eventually revealed its purpose. Line 7. Today I will give my best to what is in front of me. Not to everything, not to the entire future, not to solving every problem, to what is in front of me. Today, this line keeps you present. It prevents the overwhelm that comes from trying to process too much at once. And it sets a clear, achievable standard for the day. Give your best to what is in front of you. 7 lines, said slowly, with as much genuine feeling as you can generate, every morning, before the world starts. That is the practice. The third practice is one that Wayne Dyer drew from his deep study of both the Tao Te Ching and the ancient Vedic traditions. He called it connecting to the source. I am going to call it the breath alignment, because that is what it is, practically. Here is the neuroscience first. Your breath is the only autonomic function, meaning the only function that operates without your conscious control, that you can also consciously control. Your heartbeat is automatic, your digestion is automatic, your immune system response is automatic, but your breath breathes itself when you are not thinking about it, and responds immediately when you do think about it. This gives you something remarkable, a direct connection between your conscious mind and your autonomic nervous system. When you breathe consciously, slowly, deliberately, you activate the parasympathetic nervous system, the rest and digest system, the calm and connected system. You literally signal to your biology, it is safe. Slow down, open, cortisol drops, adrenaline decreases, the prefrontal cortex comes more fully online. You become calmer, clearer, more present, more connected to your actual values, less reactive, less fear-driven. In 5 minutes, just through deliberate breathing, Wayne Dyer paired this biological reality with a spiritual practice. He believed, and taught extensively, that the breath is not just a biological function. That the ancient description of God as breath, the Hebrew ruach, the Sanskrit prana, the Chinese qi, was pointing to something real. That in the act of breathing, you are participating in something larger than yourself. Something that was breathing before you were born. Something that will be breathing after you are gone. You can hold whatever framework you wish, spiritual or purely physiological. The practice works either way. Here's the breath alignment as Dyer practiced it. Sit comfortably, eyes closed. Take one slow breath in. Count silently. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold. 1, 2, 3, 4. Release slowly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. The extended exhale is important. It activates the vagus nerve, which directly communicates calm to the entire nervous system. As you inhale, silently or quietly say the word I. As you exhale, say the word am. I am. With each breath, not as words, as a felt experience of presence. I am here. I am alive. I am connected. I am. 10 breaths, done this way, every morning, after the 7 lines. By the time you are done, you will feel genuinely different. Not because of belief, because of biology. The parasympathetic activation, combined with the focused attention, combined with the felt sense of presence, creates a neurological state from which your whole day will launch. This is what Wayne Dyer meant when he talked about starting the day connected to the source. Not from anxiety, not from reaction, from presence, from groundedness, from the quiet certainty that you are here, and that being here is enough. After the mirror technique, the 7 lines, and the breath alignment, you arrive at the practice that Wayne Dyer considered the most important of all. Silence, not as absence, as presence. The silence gap is a minimum of 10 minutes of deliberate stillness every single morning. No music, no podcast, no guided meditation app, no input, just silence, and in that silence, the practice is simple. Sit, breathe, and when thoughts come, which they will, simply notice them without engaging, thinking, and return to the breath. That is the entire instruction. But the effect of that instruction, practiced daily, over weeks and months, is profound. Here is what happens. The mind, which has been running at high speed, begins to slow. Not immediately, not in the first session, but over time. Gradually, the chattering mind, which most people believe is just their personality, begins to reveal itself as what it actually is: a habit, a pattern, an old program, not the self. And in the spaces between the thoughts, in what Wayne Dyer called the gap, something else becomes available. Clarity, that arrives without being sought. Intuition, that surfaces from somewhere deeper than logic. A kind of quiet certainty, that does not depend on having all the information. Dyer believed, and I think he was right, that the gap between thoughts is where your authentic wisdom lives. Not in the noise, in the gap, and meditation is the practice of finding that gap, of widening it, of making it accessible, even in the middle of a busy day. Because here is what changes, after months of daily silence practice. You begin to carry the gap with you. Not a 2-hour gap, a micro gap, a small pause, between stimulus and response, between what someone says and how you react, between what happens and how you interpret it, between the thought and the action. In that micro gap, your whole life changes. Because in that micro gap, you are not running the old program. You are choosing, actively, consciously, from your actual values, from who you are actually choosing to be. Wayne Dyer meditated for 2 hours, not because he thought everyone should meditate for 2 hours, but because the quality of his daily experience, the quality of his work, the quality of his presence with other people, was so dramatically different on the days he meditated versus the days he did not, that he could not justify not doing it. You will discover your own version of this. Start with 10 minutes, every morning, in silence, without exception, and notice what happens to the quality of everything that comes after. The fifth and final element of the complete Wayne Dyer morning protocol is what I call the intention lock. And it is perhaps the most immediately practical of all 5 elements, because it directly addresses the most common experience people have when they enter a day without intention. The experience of being pulled, of being reactive, of finding yourself, at the end of the day, wondering where the day went, and why you feel like you ran hard, but didn't get anywhere meaningful. That experience is the experience of a day that was set by everything except you. By the news, by other people's urgency, by whatever hit your attention first, by the ambient demands of the modern environment. The intention lock is the antidote. Here is the practice. After your silence, before you begin engaging with the world, you ask yourself one question. And you sit with it for 3 to 5 minutes. The question is this: who am I choosing to be today? Not what am I going to accomplish? Not what do I need to get done? Not what is on my calendar. Who am I choosing to be? What quality of presence do I want to bring to my interactions today? What value do I want to act from when things get difficult? What kind of person do I want to be at the end of today, when I look back? You name it. Specifically, today I am choosing to be patient, especially when I am waiting for something that matters. Today I am choosing to be genuinely present, to actually be where I am, rather than somewhere else in my head. Today I am choosing to be generous, with my time, with my attention, with my kindness. You say it out loud, or you write it. 1 to 3 qualities, named specifically, with the intention of carrying them through the day. This is not a to-do list. It is a being list. And the distinction is everything. Because a to-do list is about what you accomplish. A being list is about who you are, while you are accomplishing things. And who you are, while you are doing things, affects every outcome, every interaction, every relationship, in ways that a to-do list can never account for. The intention lock takes 3 to 5 minutes, but it sets the entire day. Because now, when things get hard during the day, when you are tempted to react in a way that does not reflect your values, when someone pulls at your patience or your peace, you have something to return to. The intention you set this morning, the person you chose to be, not a rule you are following, a choice you made, And returning to a choice feels very different from following a rule. It feels like integrity, like being someone who keeps their word, even the word they gave only to themselves. Let me put this all together now. The complete Wayne Dyer morning protocol. In sequence, with timing. This is 30 minutes. If you cannot do 30 minutes right now, start with 10. Do the first 2 elements only. Build from there, but do it every day. Here is the complete sequence. Minutes 1 through 3. The mirror technique. Go to the mirror before anything else. Look into your own eyes. Say the 3 statements. I love you. I accept you exactly as you are. You are enough. With feeling, with genuine presence, with the same quality of attention you would give to someone you care deeply about. 3 minutes. Minutes 3 through 10. The 7 lines. Sit comfortably. Close your eyes or keep them softly open, and say each of the 7 lines slowly, with a genuine pause between each one, with as much felt experience as you can generate. I am enough. Something wonderful is going to happen today. I choose peace today. I am grateful for this body and this day. I release what is not mine to carry. I trust what is unfolding. Today I will give my best to what is in front of me. 7 minutes. Minutes 10 through 15. The breath alignment. 10 slow, deliberate breaths. In for 4, hold for 4, out for 8. On the inhale, I on the exhale. AM. Feeling present, feeling connected, feeling grounded. 5 minutes. Minutes 15 through 25. The silence gap. 10 minutes. Eyes closed, breathing naturally, returning to the breath whenever thoughts arise. No input, no music, no guidance, just silence. 10 minutes. Minutes 25 through 30. The intention lock. 3 to 5 minutes with the question, who am I choosing to be today? Name specifically, said out loud or written. 5 minutes. 30 minutes total. That is the protocol. Every morning, before the phone, before the news, before the world's demands. 30 minutes of deliberate, intentional, self-directed morning. Wayne Dyer believed, and I believe, that no 30 minutes you will invest in your day will return more than those 30 minutes. Not in the gym, not in a strategy meeting, not anywhere, because those 30 minutes determine the quality of everything else. They determine who you are when the day is hard, who you are when you are tired, who you are when someone disappoints you, who you are when things do not go the way you planned. They determine, in the most practical and the most profound sense, who you are. Let me close with the most important thing, not a summary, a question. Wayne Dyer asked this question of himself and of everyone he taught at the beginning of every single day. And I want to offer it to you now. Before tomorrow morning arrives, the question is this: what would the best version of me do in the first 30 minutes tomorrow? Not what should I do? Not what do I know I should do? What would the best version of me, the version I am working to become, the version that lives these practices, actually do? Because the best version of you does not wait for motivation, does not wait to feel ready, does not negotiate with the phone. The best version of you claims the morning. Every morning, starting tomorrow. I want to ask you something, and I genuinely want you to answer in the comments. Not a generic response, your real answer. Which of these 5 practices, the mirror technique, the 7 lines, the breath alignment, the silence gap, or the intention lock, is the one you have been missing most? The one that, when you heard it today, you thought, that is the thing I have not been doing. Tell me in the comments. I read every one, and I will respond to as many as I can. Because this channel is not just content, it is a community of people who are doing this work together. Subscribe if you are in, and I will see you next week. Stay close, there is much more ahead. Before you go, if any part of this video made you stop and think, that's not an accident. Wayne Dyer believed that the right message finds you at exactly the right moment. Maybe this was yours. If it was, hit subscribe. Not because I'm asking you to, but because there are more lessons like this one waiting for you on this channel. And you don't want to miss them. Hit the like button if this added something to your day. It takes 1 second and it helps more people find this content, people who might need it just as much as you did. And turn on notifications, so the next lesson shows up before life gets in the way. I'll see you in the next one. Don't die with your music still in you.